Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today the Green Bay Packers have traded for quarterback Malik Willis, who was a third-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft for the Tennessee Titans, 86 overall. He got to start in 3 games for the Tennessee Titans in 2022, and he started 3 games for Tennessee. The team had a 1-2 record, as he threw 31 for 62, 276 passing yards, and 3 interceptions in those 3 starts. I do want to remind everybody that even though he did have 3 starts, he played in a total of 8 games. So some of those throws did come in the course of the 8 games he did play in 2022. Now, 3 starts in 8 games played for Malik Willis in his rookie year in 2022. Now, fast forward to 2023, last year in the regular season, and then also this preseason. Malik Willis played in 3 games last year, but the only game he actually got to have some action in was against the Baltimore Ravens. It was a London game. The Ravens ended up winning 24-16, but in like the third, it was like mid-third quarter. Ryan Tannehill hurt his ankle or something, and Malik Willis came into the game. Looked pretty good. He threw 4 for 5 with 74 passing yards. Did not throw any touchdowns. Did not throw an interception. Was just 4 for 5 with 74 passing yards. Looked pretty solid. Then Will Levis became the starter. He really remained the starter as the season would go on. And going into training camp and preseason, they just signed Mason Rudolph, most likely to be the backup quarterback. And they kind of had a little bit of a backup competition between Willis and Mason Rudolph, and both guys played good, but Mason Rudolph played better. Malik Willis looked good, right? He threw 20 for 27, 200 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, throwing 1 interception with 101 rushing yards. That's great. But Mason Rudolph on the other end threw 31 for 49 with 365 passing yards, 16 rushing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and no interceptions. Also, when you're going to have a guy like Will Levis starting at quarterback for the first time, obviously Will Levis was a starter at the end of the year last year, but this is the first full year having him as the starter. You're going to want more of an experienced backup like Mason Rudolph compared to Malik Willis, who's only started 3 games in his career. So I understand them choosing Mason Rudolph over Malik Willis, but at the same time, a lot of teams keep 3 quarterbacks on their rosters. So since now you can have 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster for that emergency quarterback if your first 2 quarterbacks get injured in the game. So I feel like teams should be taking advantage of that, especially a guy like Will Levis who had a couple, injuries last year. So he definitely could have kept Malik Willis, but I feel like with the preseason he had, there was some value to trade him, and they sent him to Green Bay for a 7th-round pick. Now you can just potentially go and sign another quarterback to be the 3rd-string quarterback instead of having a valuable quarterback sit on the bench and not play at all because he's the 3rd-string guy. You're probably going to replace Malik Willis with someone that he's not as good, that's not as good as him, but you'd rather have that 7th-round pick for a guy who's not going to play because he's the 3rd emergency quarterback. Now, the interesting thing I want to talk about is because I was kind of thinking that Tennessee was going to potentially trade Malik Willis or cut him, but this was not the team I expected him to get sent to, the Green Bay Packers. The recent talks with the Green Bay Packers at quarterback position has been this backup quarterback position between the guys they've drafted back-to-back years in late draft rounds. Drafted 149th overall, Sean Clifford in 2023. Then also drafted Michael Pratt this past year from Tulane. 2 guys who have been competing, both been playing pretty solid in the preseason. Michael Pratt threw 23 for 35, 178 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception in the preseason, while Sean Clifford threw 22 for 41, 207 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 interception. Keep in mind, both these guys, one guy's a rookie, one guy's going into his 2nd year. So both guys look pretty solid for young quarterbacks in the preseason. And there have actually been talks about who's going to win the backup job, and whoever doesn't win the backup job might get traded. So with all that talk about one of Clifford or Pratt potentially getting traded, and and them choosing one over the other at backup quarterback, Green Bay shocks everybody and goes and trades for another backup quarterback in Malik Willis. So I'm really interested to see what happens now. I obviously don't think Green Bay keeps 4 quarterbacks on the roster. I think it's very well possible that Green Bay keeps 3 quarterbacks on the roster. And if you do that, is that third quarterback on the roster, is it Michael Pratt or is it Sean Clifford? Honestly, I know that Pratt had a little bit more of efficiency in the preseason, threw 23 for 35 and 1 touchdown. Look, there's not much of a difference. Both guys threw touchdown passes. Both guys threw an interception. Clifford threw a total of 29 more passing yards, but had 6 more attempts. But I think the thing is, actually, the other thing is, like, Sean Clifford was really impressive in the preseason last year for the Green Bay Packers. Looked really good in his rookie season in the preseason. So I don't know who you want to decide to keep or get rid of. I think either one might have some trade value. You'll have to see. But it's definitely interesting to see who is potentially going to leave Green Bay and who will stay at that QB3. Now, I think it's definitely another option that you could see. Green Bay, obviously Malik Willis is the QB2, backing up Jordan Love, and then you see Sean Clifford as the emergency third quarterback, and then the Packers end up cutting Michael Pratt and then signing him back to the practice squad. I think that's a possibility. I just don't know if he clears waivers. So the Packers have a couple more decisions to make at quarterback. They decided who's going to be the backup. It's Malik Willis, but who is going to be the third string quarterback? Because they had to decide between Clifford and Pratt who was going to be the backup, off of both guys playing pretty solid the preseason. Now even a harder decision. They have to decide who is the QB3 on the roster between the two of them. Is it Pratt or is it Clifford? Let me know your thoughts on the trade for the Green Bay Packers in the comment section. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and peace out.